Hey guys, it's Andrea here from Crafter Support and welcome to our channel. Today I'm going to share with you another portion of our 13 weeks of Halloween, and we're going to make a fun project. So all we're going to do is go into Design Space and we're going to look at all of the Halloween designs, and how you can do that is up in the search bar. You can search Halloween. Now, there are a ton of different products. There are a lot of cute projects that people have created. And if you're new to the Cricut, this is the perfect way to go in and just kind of mess around and make projects that are already designed for you. I hear a lot of people say they like their Cricut, they just don't know how to do the design work. And I promise I will be getting into that. It's just, I start making videos and then I feel like I'm confusing you. So I stop making the video. But what I want to do is make a video to teach how to design and try to make it as simple as possible so that you can fully grasp it and be able to create and make whatever it is that you like. So just know, behind the scenes, I am really working on that. Okay, so here I'm scrolling through and I'm just showing you different ideas and different options they have. But the thing that we're going to be making today is a pinwheel. Actually, we're making two pinwheels. So I'm just going to go back up to the search engine and I'm going to type in, leave the word Halloween, and then I'm going to put in pinwheels. And once we do that, it will pull up all of the different options of pinwheels that they have. And once I do that, here I go. So when I do the voiceovers, like, I sometimes get ahead of myself. So now that I've done that, it'll pull up all the different pinwheels that you can make. And I decide on the first option just because of the black background. It kind of made me think Halloween. So here are your options. So this is the information center. When you click on a project, it'll tell you everything you need, roughly how to put it together, and what all you're going to use when making the project. So this one says, of course, you need paper straws. You need what are those little brads called? Yeah, a brad, and hot glue or regular glue. So I kind of do mine a little bit differently than what they suggest because it just works easier for me. I've made these in the past. You'll see. And I think the next project we make is going to be a big project for the 13 weeks of Halloween. So this coming week, you guys will see it. So next Saturday, set your calendars because it's a really fun project that we're making and you're going to not want to miss it. So anyways, I've made these before in the past was my whole point, and you'll see a project that I made a couple years ago next week that have these pinwheels on it, and you'll be able to just kind of get an idea of how else you can use them other than being on the straws. Anyways, okay, so I'm looking at this project. I don't really like the green one. I'm not going to use that one for this project. So I'm just going to click on it, and then I'm going to right click on it, and we're going to just click cut, and that will take it off your screen and delete it. And now we're ready to go. So I'm just pulling up the second one, and we're going to click make it. And I'm just looking at the sizes here to make sure I know what size of paper I have to put on my mat. So here I'm clicking, I'm going to use my mat. I'm going to click continue. And then it's going to have everything set up for me. So it just shows me what size I need. And you can make these any size you want. I've made teeny tiny ones up to really big ones. Advice for that is if you're making smaller ones, use thinner paper, so a less weighted paper. And if you're making bigger ones, you can use the thicker paper, and that will make it like a cardstock, like an 80-pound or 100-pound cardstock would make really good ones. You don't want anything too flimsy when you start getting larger. So now I'm just going to send it to my machine, and my machine is just going to cut it all out. And I don't show that part because it's obvious, right? Okay, so now I'm just using my light grip mat. So paper normally doesn't ever have to be on a green mat or above. So I just use mine on my blue mat because that's what it's made for, is paper. So I'm using my brayer as well. I found that I love this brayer specifically. I've had other ones. I don't know if they're just janky, but I didn't like them and I didn't feel that they made a difference. However, this one certainly did make a difference. So I really like using it. Now I'm just setting up my laptop so that way there I can send it to the machine because it wasn't working via Bluetooth. That sometimes happens. It's not a big deal. I just plug it in and I click all of the goes. And yeah, so now we're just cutting it out on the machine. So once it cuts all out for me, I'm just going to show you. I flip my mat over to peel it out and off. That just removes it without rolling your paper. It's easier to roll the mats. The mats are very hardy. They withstand a lot. They're made to withstand a lot, so it's easier to get your paper off, and it doesn't roll if you roll the mat off of the paper. So here I just grabbed a second sheet. This is not double-sided paper, and I purposely am showing you this. It might not be the greatest example, but I just want to give you an idea of what you can do with one-sided paper, because my other paper is double-sided. So all the holes are cut for us, and the concept of this is just folding the circles into themselves. So fold the one that has the circle cut of that angle, and then fold that angle in, and it just goes all the way around. So this is where using a brad will hold them into place. If you don't have a brad, that's fine. You can simply glue that, and you're going to see that in the other example that I do for you guys. But the brad just kind of gives it a complete look all in one, where there's other steps you have to take if you don't use a brad. And like I said, I show you that in this video. So now we're just putting all of the holes together, and then we're going to press it through to the back because there's a hole in the very center. And then it's ready to be put on your paper straw. So I want mine different heights. I don't want them all tall. I want them different sizes, because basically what you can do with these is stick these into wreaths. You can stick them in like little planters. You can stick them in little goodie bags for your kids when they for trick-or-treating. I've put them in like coffee mugs with pens just over the holidays, just to give my desk a little bit of decoration. And all you're going to do is hot glue them to the back. So you push the brad through, you fold each side down. I'm sure you've all used brads before. And then you just hot glue the straw onto the back of it. And I like to use, if you guys haven't noticed, I'm going with a theme of like this black crepe paper this year. And I just think it looks super cute and kind of spooky. Now we're not going to, this isn't finished until I let all of the glue dry. So it looks kind of weird at first. I think it turns out super cute though. But at first I hot glue this piece on to the back, but it's not going to stay like that. Like, it just has to completely dry before I move on to the next step. So you guys might be like, whoa, wait, what? And then I have to hot glue my straw onto the back of that. And then we need to set it aside and let it dry so that I can come back and finish it. So I'm just kind of pressing it down and holding it in place. And you could do all sorts of things right now with that. If you wanted to put a bat behind it instead of like cut out a bat shape out of black and put behind it. I like the mix of the black and the orange for Halloween. So I used to do a lot of purples with my Halloween, and I haven't really done a lot of purple recently with Halloween. So I'm just cutting all those pieces, and I'm just going to let them hang until we come back and just kind of fix them up so they look a bit nicer on like hanging down. So I'm going to put that one aside, and now we have our second one. And this one, again, is just the one-sided. And like I said, we want to make it look as best as possible. And I'm going to show you how it would look if you folded over your design from the back. So if you're looking at the blank white and you fold your pattern towards the circle instead of the white towards the circle, I hope that makes sense. This is what it would look like. So there's my brad, and you'll notice that when you put it through, you see a lot of white. If you want that, that's perfectly fine. I didn't want that. I wanted to see more of the design. So with this one, I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to pull the white towards me so that I can see the light when I flip it towards me, and I can see the pattern when I'm looking straight on. Does that make sense? Just like that. And we're going to use it without a brad. So I'm going to show you, if you don't have brads, you can just use your hot glue gun. And I would suggest putting something underneath it just so it doesn't ruin your mat. I'm using parchment paper. I love keeping parchment paper in my craft room. I use it for sublimation. I use it for infusible ink. I use it for just a protector over my self-healing mat, which I think I need to get a new one. This one's looking a little stressed here, but it just kind of saves on your mats and your table if you're using your table, and stuff doesn't stick to it. It'll peel right off. So first thing I'm going to do is press in my piece. And yes, guys, I burn my fingers every single time I use my hot glue gun. It's just life, and I'm getting used to it. It is what it is. So I also am using my bone folder. What I want to tell you guys is every time you put a layer of hot glue on top of another item that you've already hot glued, it's going to melt the glue that you just put on and unstick it. So it's going to remelt it because it's super hot, and it'll pop back out. And that happens here, I think, twice. And it is what it is. You just push it back down. It's not a big deal if that happens to you. So if you're working on a project and you're layering things with hot glue, the heat is going to melt the layer that's underneath, especially if the paper, whatever you're layering, isn't like a thicker item. So if you're not you know what I mean? Like, it's not going through and reheating the glue that you just put down and left harden a little bit. It's kind of like leaving something that you hot glued out in the sun and it melts off. It's because the hot glue was re-melted. Wow, I went into way too much for that. Sorry, guys. Sometimes I just ramble because I do the voiceovers, and I'm like, it would be so much easier if I could just video and record at the same time, but it just doesn't work for our family. Between the dogs and the kids and the TV and the husband, there's always noise, but that's okay. So now I'm going to show you how to make a rosette with crepe paper, like this little party streamer. So what you're going to do is go in a circle and bunch the bottoms together. So you're just going to fold and press and fold and press the whole way around. And these make super cute rosettes if you're making paper clips, or if you're looking to just decorate on a scrapbook page, or if you're trying to make faux flowers. This is a really inexpensive way to do that. Now, you can press a brad through here if you wanted to, and that would hold it all together. But then I was like, oh wait, we're not using a brad. We're pretending that we don't have brads for this one. So we're going to go ahead and use the hot glue. Now, this is a little bit tricky, so you want to make sure you have your parchment paper down. And then you're going to press your rosette that you just made into the parchment paper and let it completely dry. Guys, I'm so impatient that I don't let things dry, and then I'm like, oh, it's good enough, I'm going to pull it up, and then I pull it up and it's completely ruined, or I have to mess with it because I didn't give it time to completely dry, which is exactly what happens here. But it is what it is. So I was able to fix it after I pulled it up, but just give yourself some dry time. Put it aside, maybe work on something else, just 2 or 3 minutes. I wouldn't even give it that. I was being impatient, just trying to get the video done, because I was excited about this one because I know exactly how I want to use mine. And I was just like, oh, I want to do this. So I'm cutting the back of the skull off. I got these at the $1.25 store, and it's kind of hard to see, but it is a skull and they are super cute. I'm not a spooky Halloween person. I am a cutesy Halloween person. So if, I don't know, some people are just spooky. I think Brandy said they're spooky and I'm cutesy because I don't like spooky stuff, guys. I don't know. But anyways, let me know in the comments below if you like spooky or if you like cutesy, because I definitely like cute. All right, so here I'm picking it up. It was not dry. It was not dry, and it was sticking to my fingers, and I was pulling it apart, and I was like, really? Really, Andrea? Why didn't you just let it dry? And then I popped it over to the side, and I'm just going to let it dry right there for just a minute, because yet again, I am still being impatient. All right, and now I'm going to stick this onto the center. No worries, I do cut around it to make it smaller. I just needed to get it on there so it didn't fall apart because I was being impatient. So using the parchment paper, you can hold it. It doesn't, like, the parchment paper seems to take the heat, so you can hold on to it and press, and it doesn't, like, it didn't burn my hands. I don't know. But my hands are probably so calloused from being burnt so many times that, you know, not a lot does affect them right now. So I'm just going around and trimming the piece out. I should have trimmed it before, yes, but I didn't. So here I'm just going around and trimming it so that I make sure I don't cut into the actual paper, and I'm using the right scissors now because I was using my big ginormous scissors, and I'm like, I have paper snips for a reason. This is what they're for the smaller projects. So there's that. And I think this one turned out so cute. It is so glittery. I love it. And I'm going to just hot glue this one onto another paper straw. I think this paper straw is bigger because I needed different heights for what I'm using it for. So I know what I do on this one to show you guys. If you have the white and you don't like it, you can get ink, like ink. This is just an ink pad, and I have a sponge, and I'm just dipping it onto the ink pad itself, and I'm just going to like lightly brush over the white. This way here, it gives the white part of the paper a little bit of color, and it's like kind of toning it down because I'm going for a more like dusty, dingy, cutesy look, I guess. I don't want it to be real shiny and bright. I wanted it to just be kind of faded a little bit. And I think it turned out really, really cute for exactly what I wanted. Okay, so now I'm just going to put my straw on the back. And there it is. I think it turned out so cute. Guys, I have used ribbon on these. I've used all sorts of stuff to decorate these up, gems and a whole lot of other things. So these are just the basic forms that I'm teaching you. Go crazy with it. Make all sorts of things that you want to make, and then share them with us on Crafter Support. So here I'm just taking the pieces and I'm just wrapping them across each other. This way here it gives them more of a flow instead of like just sticking straight out on either side. And then I'm going to bring the other side around and hot glue that side as well. And no one's going to see the back, by the way. These are going to be tucked into things, so they're only going to see the front. But you can use buttons for the center. You can use like little gems from the Dollar Tree. You could put those in. Or I'm sorry, the $1.25 store. I don't think we should call it the Dollar Tree anymore because it's not everything for $1. So moving on. All right, guys, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it inspired you to make some really cute pinwheels. And until next Saturday for our 13 weeks of Halloween, I hope you're enjoying this. Give it a thumbs up. Let me know if you make them. And yeah, share your photos on Crafter Support on our Facebook page. We'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.